Scream 6's directors, writers and producers discuss a specific kill at the end of the movie and how it may debunk a popular Stu Macher theory. After achieving success after last year's requel, directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett return for Scream 6, which sees Sam, Tara, Mindy and Chad facing off a dangerous new ghostface in New York City. In addition to introducing several new characters, 3 of whom end up being Ghostface, the latest sequel also sees the return of Kirby and Gale. But before we finally lay to rest one of the best Scream characters in the franchise, I'd like to say hello guys and gals, I'm Nick, and welcome to Firthy's Feedback. So, in a recent spoiler-filled interview with Variety, the Scream 6 creative team discusses how Ethan's death at the hands of a TV is a direct reference to Stu's death in Wes Craven's original movie. The TV to the head very definitively kills Ethan, and Gillett explains that the moment is meant as a final nail in the coffin of the theory that Stu is somehow still alive in the world of the franchise. Here's what Gillett, co-writer James Vanderbilt, and producers William Shurak and Paul Neenstein said. Let's talk about the TV and Stu. There was a line about the conspiracy that Stu is still alive. Was Kirby pushing the TV onto Ethan and killing him to prove to fans that the TV killed Stu? Gillett. Yes, that is scripted specifically as a brutal and definitive kill. Guy and Jamie wrote the TV falling on Ethan's head as a brutal and definitive kill. Vanderbilt. I just loved that moment. Once we got the idea of her saying, "I saw that in a scary movie once," we had to do it. It's the one last pop-up. It was more about that than saying anything about all of the Stu truthers out there. Could Matthew Lillard pop up in a future movie? Vanderbilt. There's no good answer, so I will never confirm or deny stuff like that. Shurak. Anything's possible. Neenstein. Characters can come in and out. There's different ways to do it. It's such a part of all their lives. They have an affinity for Scream. While Gillett seems to definitively say that Ethan's TV death is proof that Stu is dead, Vanderbilt, who actually wrote the scene with co-writer Guy Busick, seems less convinced. Whether Stu is actually dead or not, however, doesn't really affect his ability to return to the franchise after Scream 6. Although last year's Scream introduced a host of new characters that largely take the place of legacy characters like Sidney, Gale and Dewey, the franchise still remains very much tied to the past. One of the biggest ways this connection to the past manifests itself is through Sam and her father. 2022 Scream reveals Sam to be the illegitimate daughter of Billy Loomis, who was the Ghostface in the original movie alongside Stu. Billy returns as a figment of Sam's imagination in last year's movie and Scream 6, and it's certainly possible that Stu could return in a similar fashion. The only problem with this theory, of course, is that Stu didn't have any children that we know of, meaning it's not clear who would be having visions of him or why. It's certainly possible, however, that Scream 7 will introduce one of Stu's relatives or siblings, thus creating an opportunity for the character to live on in some way. While the comments from the Scream 6 creative team would suggest that Stu may in fact be dead, that definitely doesn't mean that he can't ever return down the line. What do you guys think? Do you believe that Stu is dead? Or will the showrunners think of a clever way to bring him back somehow in a future installment? Let me know below.